Edward, the blue engine is a very wise engine. He, like most engines, is proud of his number 2 and his bright, shiny blue paint. One morning, Edward puffed towards Crosby light engine. He was just puffing towards Crosby when he saw someone he had never seen before. Edward looked at the man. He looked unusual, but he had a nice suit. However, the man didn't look too happy.
Who are you? Hello, my name is Edward, and I work on the Fat Controller's Railway.
I see. Then Sir Tom had himself walked into the station. He spoke to the V.I.P.
Edgewood, this is Jeremy. He is the VIP visiting Sodor today, and she is going to leave a rating on this railway after his experience here. Though it wasn't easy to get him to oblige to come here. I had to waste lots of money on tea and crumpets for him to finally agree.
Hearing this made Edward worried. But he didn't want to let the VIP down. So, the Fat Controller walked away, leaving the VIP and Edward alone.
Very glad to be at your service, sir.
And Edward blew a very loud whistle.
Oh, sorry, sir. I didn't mean to scare you.
It's okay, I guess.
Anyways, I want you to take me on a trip around Sodor.
But when the inspector looked at what Edward was pulling, he was angry. Edward was going to take a goods train later, so he had a brake van with him.
You expect me to ride on that on a trip across Sodor? Disgraceful.
Well, I wasn't planning on taking any passengers on my journey, sir.
After all, it's just a brake van. You can step in it. That's no excuse. Bring me a clean coach now.
So, Edward reluctantly puffed away to drop off his brake van and collect a clean coach for the VIP. Edward was meant to take the goods, but the VIP had told him to put away his brake van and collect a clean coach instead. Edward didn't like this at all.
I had to tell the Fat Controller about delaying the schedule.
And Edward puffed to Crosby. Edward puffed into the station with his new coach.
That's better, but be faster next time. I have somewhere to be. Wow, this VIP really is something else.
Even though the VIP was rude, it didn't change Edward's mood for long. Now Edward's a kind sort of engine. He whistles to every engine he passes. He whistled to Rebecca as she puffed by with a goods train. Edward wasn't a very fast engine either, and it was starting to show. He puffed carefully along the suspension bridge, but the VIP wasn't happy. He thought the journey was too slow-paced. He yelled to the driver to go faster. But we can't go faster. Edward isn't meant to go that fast. He is a slow and careful engine, so we must respect him. Edward agreed with that. Then Edward passed the crossing that Terence was waiting at. He whistled hello.
Who knew this railway had such ugly vehicles? What a horrid man.
Terence was very cross.
Exactly. Terence's driver agreed with him.
But then there was trouble. There had been a points failure on the signal box, but it was too late to warn Edward, as he had already chuffed past. As a result, the faulty point switched from the main line to Edward's branch.
That's strange. I'm on my branch line.
But before Edward could think of anything else, there was Trevor.
Edward, slow down. You aren't supposed to be going this fast on your branch line.
Edward wanted to slow down, but the V.I.P. was being even more annoying.
Now this is more like it.
Edward had had enough of the V.I.P.
Now listen here, you.
Edward, do you hear that? Came a loud horn.
Oh no, that must be Boko.
Acting quickly, Edward blew a sharp whistle, which caught Boko's attention. Then he noticed the points, which were in the right spot to save him and the V.I.P. This was Edward's only chance. So, he sped up. They were not a second too soon. Edward was tired, but he knew he had saved the V.I.P.'s life. The rest of the journey was smooth, but Edward was tired from the whole deal and fancied a rest after he stopped at Brendan. Gordon was there. When Edward stopped, he told him about what happened. Gordon was impressed.
That was some good work back there, Edward. I have to say that I'm surprised.
But when the V.I.P. walked up, he was furious.
Fine work. That engine disobeyed the speed limit. And not to mention that big green box diesel too. He probably neglected to look at his red signal.
The engines were very angry. Finally, Gordon had had enough.
For your information, this engine, which his name is Edward, by the way, saved your life. If he hadn't acted quickly, you wouldn't be standing here right now. And Boko's a lovely diesel, you rude man.
The engines looked at the V.I.P. He sighed. He turned away. Then, he turned back.
I'm sorry, Edward.
Edward was pleased. He had finally called him by his actual name. And Gordon apologized.
I'm sorry I lashed out at you, Jeremy. It's just Edward has been teased many times in his lifetime, including me. But I know to respect him after the many times he's helped me.
And for the whole day, the inspector smiled. The inspector now seemed like a different person. Edward and Gordon wanted to whistle loudly, but Edward remembered something.
Oh, this isn't too loud, is it, Jeremy?
Not at all. The inspector was now used to the sound of a steam engine. So Edward and Gordon whistled as loud as they could. And the inspector grinned from ear to ear.